if you already subscribed, and if you are new, welcome in. Thank you for clicking. Please like and subscribe if you find any of my videos helpful or helps bring awareness in a creative way that perhaps you will take a little bit better than other approaches. I guess that's the best way you can describe it. Pardon me for any tongue ties or kind of sometimes my words get mumbled, jumbled, or I totally murder it with vocabulary, whatever. I have Chiron and Gemini. It is a work in progress since pretty much I was born, and this is so much better than if you knew me 30 plus years ago. So please give me grace in that department, as my pronunciation may not be always on point, but I'm trying. So today we're going to talk about the 7 deadly sins as well as the 7 heavenly virtues and relating that to the zodiac signs. And which zodiac signs kind of go in each category, and some, go in multiple categories, and why. So if you exude a certain zodiac sign a little bit more, or resonate with one sign a little bit more, these are just things to kind of check yourself as you may fall into the 7 deadly sins, and the opposite 7 heavenly virtues are things to consider if you are kind of out of that balanced bubble or wounded and kind of going out of line. And only you will really know that, or the people close to you. So it's like a fun way of connecting everything. So a little history on the 7 deadly sins. I am not a historian, so I'm going to read over a little summary. The 7 deadly sins originated in early Christian teachings as a guide to moral failings. They were first outlined by Evagrius Ponticus, a 4th century Christian monk who identified 8 evil thoughts like pride, envy, wrath, etc. Later, Pope Gregory I in the 6th century revised this list, combining some and formalizing the 7 deadly sins: pride, ego, wrath, sloth, greed, gluttony, and lust. These sins were seen as spiritual obstacles that led people away from virtue and closer to moral decay. Thomas Aquinas further developed the concept in the 13th century, linking each sin to corresponding virtues and emphasizing the importance of avoiding them for spiritual growth. Over time, these sins became central to Christian morality and were depicted in art and literature, including Dante's Divine Comedy. And then a little history of the development of the 7 heavenly virtues. The 7 heavenly virtues were formulated as antidotes to the 7 deadly sins. They were rooted in both Christian theology and classical philosophy. Initially, the 3 theological virtues, faith, hope, and charity, were outlined by St. Paul in the Bible, 1 Corinthians 13:13. The 4 cardinal virtues, prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude, came from Greek philosophy, particularly from thinkers like Aristotle. Over time, Christian theologians, particularly Pope Gregory I and Thomas Aquinas, merged these ideas, pairing each virtue with its corresponding deadly sin. This framework encouraged Christians to cultivate virtues to resist sinful tendencies. The virtues were codified as humility, kindness, patience, diligence, charity, temperance, and chastity, each serving as a remedy for one of the deadly sins. Both systems, the 7 deadly sins and the 7 heavenly virtues, were designed as moral and spiritual guides, helping believers strive for virtue while avoiding the pitfalls of sin. These ideas became deeply embedded in Christian culture and were widely illustrated in medieval art, literature, and theology. So on to the actual zodiac signs and how they most likely fit into each of the 7 deadly sins. So first is pride, and the heavenly virtue to help mitigate pride is humility. So number 1 is Leo. We know that represents the sun. It's the sun sign. So seeking admiration and attention, craving the spotlight a little bit too much, and exhibiting excessive self-confidence as if like they are right, and they're so confident about that where, you know, that's their ego kind of getting in the way. So check yourself if you're overdoing it. Aquarius, so the opposite sign of Leo, can take on some of this ego and pride as well. They can become intellectually prideful because they're a very intellectual air sign and fixed. And they may think that their ideas and ways of being are more superior as they're so intelligent. So be a little bit flexible if you find that, you know, your pride is getting in the way. Other people have a voice too. Another one that may fall into this pride category is Virgo, and their need for perfectionism and moral superiority. They tend to judge others often, and they may take pride in their hard work, and they may be a little prideful that they should get a position over someone else if they feel or are overly critical of other people who are not doing as much work as they do, or if they don't deserve whatever it is compared to them. So just be aware of that. Another sign that may fall in this pride category is Aries. So they exhibit like very bold, confident, competitive sense of self, you know, because it is the self. When we relate to the first house or Aries, it is the me. So be a little bit aware if you're kind of being a little arrogant, as your way is the best way. So just be mindful. So number 2 on the 7 deadly sins is envy. And the first sign that kind of falls in this envy category when unhealthy or wounded is Scorpio. So Scorpio can potentially be deeply resentful and jealous if they feel betrayed or hurt or excluded. And jealousy, you know, is related to envy, or, you know, yeah, so just be mindful that that is something that may come up for you. And the 7 heavenly virtue to compensate or balance out this envy is humility. No, that's kindness. No, yeah, kindness. Humility is for pride. Kindness is for envy. Be kind of others, not jealous of them. Another sign that falls under envy can be Cancer. They may feel envious when emotional needs are not met, or when others are more secure than they are. They may be envious of other people who have it a little bit better. and more emotionally secure, financially secure, such and such. Another sign that falls under envy, possibly, is Gemini. They may have FOMO, or fearing of missing out syndrome. They may feel envious when other people seem to have more opportunities or fun, exciting moments in comparison to them, so they can be a little bit envious and jealous of others at times. Another sign is a Virgo. They may be envious of others' success or perceived lack of effort. You know, like, how come they got the promotion compared to me because they don't work as hard compared to me? So that is just like a little perfectionist thing that you can fall into envy in this category. Another sign in envy can be Capricorn. They are prone to jealousy when others advance in their careers and financial status or social status. If they do it faster with more ease and they are kind of falling behind, or they don't feel good enough, they may be envious of others who are more successful than them. The next category, number 3, is wrath. So the opposite or counterbalance of heavenly virtues is patience. So with wrath, we can kind of guess what sign this might fall into is Aries. Aries is very hot-headed, quick-tempered, loves to argue. If you have a ton of Aries in your chart, they can be quick-tempered, explosive, and angered when provoked. So practice patience. Hold back a little bit to go take a walk. Go listen to music, deep breathe if you have anger challenges. The next one who shares this Mars ruler with Aries is Scorpio. So Scorpio can hold grudges and they can seek revenge, which can be really scary. Often with intense emotional vengeance. So, and if you've ever seen the wrath of a Scorpio when you really hurt a Scorpio, or you made them so ridiculously jealous and try to hurt their heart, woo, it can be very frightening. So Scorpio, deep breathe. If the other person is that terrible, it's probably best to walk away. So if that is your situation, of course, many Scorpios are very, very deeply loving. So if you fall in that out of line bubble of healthy boundaries, then just check yourself. You might experience wrath. Another sign that may fall under wrath is Leo. They may react angrily when their pride or status is insulted or challenged. So they do not like it because they like to be at the top, or they like to be seen in a good light, or they don't want their work to look discredited. So it might come out if they are threatened in any way. So just be mindful. Another sign that may fall under wrath is Sagittarius. They may have sudden fiery outbursts, especially when their freedom is threatened. And Sagittarius loves their freedom. You cannot cage a Sagittarius. So you try to trap a Sagittarius, they are going to try and break free from that. So don't control them. Another sign that may fall under wrath is Capricorn. They can be cold and have calculated anger when their authority or goals are challenged. So, They may lay down the law or just fire you. How about that? Because Capricorn rules the 10th house of career, or if you mess with their money, yeah, let the wrath come out. The next sign of the zodiac is the 4th one, is sloth. So it's like laziness, and the heavenly virtue to kind of help balance this out for sloth is diligence. That's what it is? Yeah, diligence. Yeah. So the first sign that may fall in this category is Taurus. So Taurus loves fixed, stable pleasantness and pleasure. Everything that looks good, feels good, tastes good, smells good, indulging in the finer things in life and the material. They love comfort, they don't like change, and they like familiar routine. So they can get a little complacent, you know, if they're not careful. Another sign that may fall under sloth is Pisces. Little daydreaming Pisces that represents no boundaries and no structure, just dissolves all of that. They like to escape responsibility or escape through retreating to fantasy or inaction at times. So just be aware if you're kind of like floating a little bit too long. Another sign that may fall into sloth is Libra. They have a hard time with conflicts and decision making, and they seek harmony and balance over actually taking action. So they can be very indecisive and not moving because they have a hard time making the decision that they find is best for them, and so they can fall into this stagnant period. So just be aware of that. The next 7 deadly sin sign is greed. And I knew that the sign number 1 under this sin would be Capricorn. The very materialistic, loves money, driven by ambition and striving for wealth and status, and you know, all the climbing to the top. And so when they're not careful, they can kind of, you know, take too much because they want more. And when they are so far out of reality with the normal, you know, like, you don't need that much. What are you going to do with it? They can kind of be out of balance. And the virtue, heavenly virtue to balance out greed is charity. So if you do have the opportunity or are fortunate enough to make that much where you're really good, don't forget to give charity, because you have more than enough, and there are people who need help at times, and you're going to be one of those people who can really help out the most if you're in that position. Of course, not all Capricorns are, or it takes them a long time to build whatever they're building and growing. Another sign that may fall into greed is Taurus, another earth sign, you know, very attached to the material, things that we own, as well as security, financial security, what it represents, and possibly excessive accumulation. So once again, you only need so much, you know, you don't need, you know, so much excess. What are you going to do with it? So just be cautious of overly consuming, overly hoarding, or overly enjoying. There's nothing wrong with that, but overly done, whatever you define that to be. Another one that may fall into greed is the other financial sign, Scorpio. the opposite of Taurus. So they can be greedy with other people's resources, power and control, and especially in relationships, either being greedy with an actual person, like they don't want to share, they're not allowed to have friends or something. It doesn't have to be, of course. Or just, you know, like thinking about taking advantage of other people's resources with poor intentions. So just be mindful. If you are one of those people, you will know who you are. You do not have to advertise yourself to everyone and basically expose yourself by projecting. But of course, that's not every Scorpio. The next sign on our 7 deadly sins list is lust. So the first sign that we put in here is Libra, as they kind of just love nice things. They love aesthetics, romantic desires, indulging in beauty, anything beautiful, or buying things that they don't need, and relationships. They may lust in love instead of actually love. So just be careful of that. They're not the same thing. You may be falling in love with the trauma that lives or is reflected in the other person, because you're in lust with the wound that you have inside. And the heavenly virtue that helps balance out lust is temperance. The other sign that falls under lust is Sagittarius, our little adventurous, flirty Sagittarius that loves to bounce around and explore all the people, all the places, all the things. Very passionate, wants to go off to the next adventure or person because, you know, you just want more. Whether it's physical or intellectual, they can chase novelty. The other sign that may fall into lust is Aries, because it represents the self. They can be impulsive and passionate, often driven by immediate desire or attraction. So, you know, kind of voyeuristic, into the physical body and lustful in that way. And then the next sign, or the last one, well, that was fast, is gluttony. And the heavenly virtue that helps balance out gluttony is chastity. Get that chastity belt on. So gluttony, a sign that falls under this category potentially is Cancer. They can be an emotional eater, using food for comfort to cope with stress or insecurity. So they can unnecessarily take too many trips to the refrigerator. And then we have Taurus, representing, you know, if you watch any of my other videos on the zodiac signs, Taurus represents the tongue, the tonsils, vocal cords, thyroid, so that area. So I'm not surprised that it falls into the category of gluttony, as they love fine dining, 5-star restaurants, wine, dessert, pleasures, anything pleasurable, like in the bedroom, and luxury, anything sensual pleasures. They can overindulge in these departments because they love it. Another sign, or the last sign that falls into gluttony, possibly, is Pisces, as they may overindulge in escapism, alcoholism, drug addiction, food, any kind of substance, as well as daydreaming. So just be mindful if you fall in that category of overindulging in things to escape the hardships of reality. I would also add Leo in gluttony, as that it also represents the house of dating, casual drinking, casual fun, casual bedtime pleasures. You can potentially fall into overindulging in those things where it is not healthy anymore. So that may be a sign that can potentially fall into gluttony as well. So those are my little categories that fall for the zodiac signs that fall into the 7 deadly sins. So if you feel like you resonate in any of those, just check yourself and think of the opposite 7 heavenly virtues. Once again, it's humility to compensate for pride, kindness to compensate for envy, patience for wrath, diligence for sloth, charity for greed, temperance for lust, and chastity for gluttony. So I hope you enjoyed my little creative tidbit combining the zodiac signs, their like weak points, and the 7 deadly sins as creatively. We can use this as a little checkpoint to be a little bit more aware when we are falling into what we call the shadow side of the zodiac sign, and to try to do a little bit better or course correct in the future, as that is just part of human life and we all make mistakes at times. So always just try. So I hope you enjoyed this. My name is Natasha. Please check out my website, which is linked down below, www.natashascreativewellness.com. Book a birth chart reading. Check out my other videos. Please push the free like button just to help me get up on that algorithm on YouTube, so more people can see my videos if you find them helpful. Okay, see you next time. Bye.